Hey everybody, this is Kimball with Live Oak. We're here in the Acorn Land Lab, and this is episode 4 of our takeaway series. So I'm sitting here in our little tiny hoop house. This is our greenhouse that keeps the methane digester warm year-round. Being here in Georgia, it is a more temperate climate. So while we do get really hot summers and warm springs, we also get some pretty cold temps in the winter. And when the average temperature for a week dips below 68 degrees Fahrenheit, this methane digester will not function, and it won't function optimally. So we want to be producing methane and fertilizer year-round. That's why we have the greenhouse around our methane digester. Today's topic is circular systems. This is one of my favorite examples of a circular system. So the Acorn Land Lab, everything we do is focused on the concept of circular systems. And I'll define that really quick. A circular system, as opposed to a linear system, is one that takes inputs, creates some valuable output from the system, but it doesn't produce any toxic byproducts. There are no wastes. There are no waste materials in this land lab. So the inputs for this methane digester are food waste, cow manure, and water. The outputs of this methane digester are methane gas that we burn. We have 2 hours of clean burning cooking fuel every day, up to 2 hours when we're feeding it its max amount of food waste and water. And then we get liquid fertilizer. Those are the only 2 outputs of this system. There are no toxic sludges. There are no poisonous pollutants that are coming out of this thing. That's how every system we design as a collective and society need to function and operate. The truth is, most of our systems today that run our Western societies are linear in nature. It means they start and they extract something, they process it, and then it gets discarded and thrown away. So when food is grown on an industrial farm, sent to the grocery store, you purchase it, you buy it, you waste some of it, and then send it out in your garbage can to a landfill. That's a linear process. Nutrients left the field, went to the grocery store, went to your house, and then that nutrients is ultimately discarded in a landfill where it is going to be mixed in with other toxins and poisons. That linear system cannot sustain forever. You cannot keep taking material from one stock, for instance a farm, and you're taking nutrients, sourcing it, pulling it out, and then throwing it in a landfill. That can't continue forever. It's an unsustainable system. So linear systems by definition are unsustainable. Circular systems, every system in nature is circular. The carbon cycle, the water cycle, the nutrient cycle, everything is reused and recycled again and again and again in a natural environment. It's only man-made systems that are linear by design, and they're not going to continue to sustain and function. So our composting is a circular system where you take all the biomass, you take food waste, you create new compost, apply it to the garden, grow more vegetables, take those scraps, feed it to the chickens, take the manure, put it back in the compost. That's circular. This biogas system is circular. We take food waste and scraps, we get methane to cook more food on, we get liquid fertilizer to feed the garden plants. That's circular. Our chickens are a great example of a circular system. They eat food scraps, they eat grains, they eat grubs from the protopod, the biopod system with the black soldier fly larva. The chickens then, because they're not in an industrial chicken house, we have them free range here and in their small chicken coop during the nighttime, we can collect their manure, put that into the compost, and then continue to grow more produce and veggies, the scraps of which the chickens will eat, and keep that circular system spinning. Concentrated animal feeding operations, CAFOs, are extremely linear. They're extremely polluting. Concentrated swine, cattle, chickens, they live very low quality lives. The animals are highly disrespected. The animals are not healthier for human consumption because these animals are often in clouds of particulates that are from their feces. They're in cramped, stressful conditions. Grain is trucked from thousands of miles away to feed these animals. And some of these animals, like the cows, should be eating grass. That's what they were designed to eat. They're herbivores, they're ruminants. They should be eating grass on fields and participating in that circular system. So when you put an animal in an environment where it should not be, it can become a linear system. You take that cow though, put it on rotationally grazed paddocks like Joel Salatin does, and many others are doing nowadays. That cow then, instead of being a polluter, instead of creating a toxic mess and producing methane emissions that are further exacerbating problems we experience, that cow on pasture is building soil, sequestering carbon, and producing a much healthier product for the end consumer. So the key circular system in everything we do starts with healthy soil. Healthy soil creates food for us to give us energy and biomass. So biomass as in woody biomass, logs, sticks, wood chips. Food and woody biomass are both used to produce energy. Food, energy for us, biomass, energy for heating, energy for cooling, energy for electrical generation. So you take the byproducts of producing that energy. For us, it's organic wastes. For a biochar system or a heating system or a rocket mass heater, the byproducts are going to be biochar, charcoal. All that goes back into the compost. Compost goes back to create clean, healthy, living soil. So that's the big circular system. But here at the Acorn Land Lab, we've got dozens of circular systems. The rainwater we capture is applied onto the various rows and raised beds. Some of that sinks into the water table. Some of that evaporates from the plants and from the soil. And then eventually the rain falls back. The water cycle circular, the carbon cycle circular, the nutrient cycle circular. Linear systems, a good example of a linear system is creating plastic products from petroleum, using the plastic product, and then throwing it away when it's at the end of its life cycle. That's linear. Now, when you recycle the plastic into something different, that can be a circular system. So our overriding mission at Acorn Land Labs is to experiment and educate with circular systems. We have all these linear systems that send products to landfills, that use non-renewable energy sources, and that's how most of our economies are powered today, with linear systems. But the big experiment here is moving towards a circular economy where carbon is recycled, nutrients are recycled, water is recycled, everything is recycled to mimic nature. Biomimicry is a huge driving force in what we're doing here with Acorn Land Labs. Whether you're rotationally grazing cattle, pigs, chickens, livestock, whether you are using a biogas system for methane generation, whether you're raising backyard chickens, all these concepts are good small-scale examples of what it means to be a circular system. Linear systems go up, 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 and then they crash. Circular systems don't crash. If you look at a sine wave mimics natural seasons, up and down, up and down. It's a rhythmic cycle. A sine wave or a cosine wave can be mapped and drawn as a circle. There's a pretty cool graphic we'll try to post sometime that shows how a sine wave can equate to a circle. But the seasons that we experience are fluid and they're smooth in the way that they undulate. That is a circular process. Linear systems that go up, 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 almost like an economy overheating and then crashing, is a linear system. We don't want linear systems because they crash. When things crash, people effectively suffer. Whether it is depleting the nutrients at a farm, whether it is using up all of a non-renewable energy source, whether it is depleting a water source without properly investing back to maintain that water source. Linear systems end with problems. Circular systems can sustain on and on and on because they mimic nature by definition. We effectively see circular systems as promoting life, and many linear systems, they effectively lead to death of environmental systems and sometimes of people, ultimately people as well. So we're all about circular systems here at the Acorn Land Lab. Thanks for tuning in.